With poverty and hunger in the land, the federal government is always seen as being responsible. But with increasing allocations to states, there are more calls on the governors to do more to address poverty in the land. Dr. Sam Amadi is here to look at this issue. Dr. Sam Amadi, thank you for coming to Newsnight.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like there's more awareness these days on the weight that lies or rests on the state governors, the responsibility they carry, and why the federal government should be let off the hook, quote unquote, you know. So then, speak to us about how state governors can be more responsive to the people, being the government that is closer to the people.
Well, I think we shouldn't let the federal government, we should focus a lot more on the states than we have done. You know, most of the accountability projects, whether from the NGOs or from international or foreign countries, focus a lot on the federal government. Because everybody sees the federal government as, you know, we talk about accountability for information, whether it is NGOs going to court challenging disclosures, asking for disclosure, but we don't seem to see that a lot with states because most of the activisms are at the center. But again, the question is that the states receive significant allocation for the constitutional, you know, for the statutory allocation. It's significant, even though if you combine state and local government, the federal has more. But again, the federal seem to be carrying a lot of responsibility. So two imperatives. One here is that if you look at what constitutes the benchmarks for multidimensional poverty. Most of the trackers, most of the processes are built to multidimensional poverty are things within the constitutional remit of states. So public health, federal has, state has, but most of the ones that are preventive, elementary, primary health care go to what states can do. Again, if you look at education, primary education, which is basic, you know, which is perhaps the most important for escaping poverty, and secondary school, lie mostly with states. So, and then if you look at the constitutional framework as well, and the administrative process, if states are working, then, you know, it builds up to much more improved economic development. So part of Nigeria's crisis of development is that we don't have productivity, and mostly missing is the rural state level. In the 1960s, mid and late 60s, when we had a very strong economy, if you look at the Eastern Nigeria economy, Western Nigeria economy, Northern Nigeria economy, particularly the Eastern Nigeria economy under Amadi, it discovered that the states, the regions were doing very well because regional governments were entrepreneurial. They were driving up, making investments. We had the Northern Nigeria Development Corporation, Western Nigeria Eastern Development Corporation. They were creating companies. Much of the, if you look at the Southeast, for example, most of the, you know, whether it's hotels, you know, factories, industries were created by those regional government. So the debate here is, if we want to escape poverty and significantly rebuild our economy, we want to see states perform. Not just, well, fiscal federalism is the in thing now, and that's important. We've seen local government now being told to be financially independent. Now the question is, you're going to match that independence with responsibility and with oversight. So to the states, two factors are driving this. One is politics. The nature of politics in the state level is actually much more, there's more state capture in the state level than the federal level. I mean, no matter how much you wash out, you know, the National Assembly, it still has some degree of energy, discussion, you know. But look at the state House of Assemblies. Where is there a sense of independence, where they can review what executive arm is doing there and, you know, kind of control them? So we are seeing a disappearance of democratic accountability at the state level. So the nature of politics at the state level, it impedes and distorts development dynamics. It's difficult, really, to develop the states, to create effectiveness of revenue interventions, except to also recreate, you know, competitive politics, where elections, local elections, opposition parties can win, and where the House of Assembly composed of opposition parties that don't have incentive to become major ruling party. I mean, even when you get 3, 4, 5, 6, House of Assembly members from the opposition party. In 6 months, they have all joined the ruling party. So basically, the democracy deficit and the accountability deficit institutionalized is heavy. Again, so you have to cure that democracy. If you don't cure that politics and create a much more competitive politics, where you have ruling party having strong opposition party at local level, challenging them and ready to supplant them, and then the governors will be on check. And again, activism, the civil society groups at the federal level are strong, especially apart from Lagos, we are, of course, expectedly have strong civil society. At the middle of the states, we want to see different partners also refocus on funding state-level non-profits, so that they can be at the state and focus on ensuring accountability, ensuring value for money, and ensuring a much more plural politics at the local and state level. That's one of the ways. With that, the states will be much more concerned in dealing with the life of. So poverty is a function of distribution.
Yes, poverty is a function of distribution. Dr. Sam Amadi, I'm more interested in the multidimensional poverty, which seeks to measure poverty beyond monetary deprivation. Basic education, primary health care, and some other amenities, drinking water. So, speak to us about how state governors can be more serious about these indices.
First, I give you a model that works. When I was trying to run an election in the past, I brought an idea called Community Action Plan for Prosperity. Community level intervention, and even economists have recognized. We talk about the market, government, state, but what about the community? So first, local government can actually redesign the idea of development. Take, for example, public health. If you look at the costs of very humongous, I'll give you as an example. They have a big general hospital. They don't have proper staffing. They don't have drugs. So the concept of development as freedom and development as human development is to, instead of building this gigantic big hospital that nobody accesses, why not create clinics, small care centers in all the wards. Low budget with diagnostic center, small with ICT makes it easier.
Local governments can handle that.
Sure, I mean the states and the local government could create it. So the point is that if you look at the drivers of multidimensional poverty, they are not things that take big budgets.
Right.
Access to sanitation, for example, shouldn't take big budgets. There was a time a reporter of P2B building water in Kano somewhere. I passed my neighbor kind of, people say, oh, that's actually development. You have to go to small projects. Don't forget the big idea about the big project. Think about what it does. So I think that the local state governors and state government can deal with this, can reduce poverty by over 40%. If they climb down from this idea that development is some kind of inordinate projects. So a big stadium, you don't have a Division 1 club side, you don't have a Division 2 club side, but you can actually develop sports at local government, a playground, functional playground. So if you have 21 local government, I have 21 playgrounds. The chances of you getting a Ronaldo, a Messi, is higher than when you go and build one big stadium somewhere in the state and you don't have facility to attract, nurture, and trade. So you look at that sports. The same with education.
Dr.
We can
Amadi,
improve primary education.
Yes,
with
Dr. Amadi.
Yes.
Yeah, we can improve primary education with investment. Yes, but then, because I don't want us to just look at this superficially. It's important to get to the root of the matter. Sometimes these factors are easy to deal with, and the governors know. But then, don't you also think that sometimes, are you bothered that they are also handicapped, because of the huge investment they made before getting into office, and then they want to perhaps recoup their investment, make returns on their investment? Yep. Could that be why they turn a blind eye to these factors?
You talk about corruption. Now, first, one thing leads to another. So if you have elections that are so expensive, that are not even responsive to the common people, then governors have to spend. Why should we spend so much money with the election? Just think about it. So what do we spend on? Most of these elections, you don't see serious television adverts. It's not like the media. Abroad, we talk about spending $100 million for election. You look at the spreadsheet, you see that a lot go to campaigns, go to media communications. So most of these are payouts to either top politicians to get tickets, pay out to some big chieftains in the city, pay out. So we have to escape that crisis of corruption.
How?
But first, clean election. If elections are no longer, you can't rig them. If elections are done in a way that people, the actual votes, people can vote freely, I can show you spend to be less. Because look, when they had local government, no party-based local government under Babangida, market women won elections because it became a test of popularity. But I think that we have constructed electoral system that is too expensive because it's no longer about votes and what people think about. The structure, what they call structure, so you don't have a structure to win election. The structure is expensive to manage. And that constitutes a distraction, a perverse incentive for governors. But nevertheless, if a governor spent billions to win election, it should be at his own risk. If the people, and this is an issue now, if the people are committed to be more active at the local level, and being active means to challenge. For example, how many times have you heard about state governors being taken to court by citizens in their state? Look at how many cases federal government face here. Challenges. People challenge the governor, challenge the president, FCT minister. If the National Assembly makes a law, people go to court. How many cases, let's look at the docket of the courts. How many cases the High Court by citizens in those states against the State Assembly, against the governor? So you can't have a shortcut. The moment the people recognize the state as a center of economic development and attribute their failure of development to failure of the state governors and are willing now to demand for accountability, active citizenship, then you begin to see the dynamics will change. Yes, the corrupt electoral system is a drag, but that's not the only thing that causes a drag. Even if they steal some money, let's assume, I mean, let's be realistic, crony capitalism, they can, even if they steal some money, I still say that there's still a lot of money available to do modular intervention at local level, but they also want to create contracts, and then they do projects that have no development content. So if you exactly, if you look at the impact of some of these projects we talk about, you take a lot of money to declare, inaugurate, projects. Almost 25% of the cost of project is used to celebrate that project. You build roads to nowhere because it's about contract. The basic thing about health, education, and if you look at the economic sense, it doesn't make sense because infrastructure would not drive development if there's a deficit of human infrastructure, social infrastructure.
Infrastructure would not drive development if there's a deficit of human infrastructure. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Sam Amadi, for coming to Newsnight.
Absolutely.